Welcome back to the program. We're now up to Module 6. We are in the mid-tier of the program, at the very tail end of the mid-tier. So the mid-tier being front desk focus, which we explained earlier. And we've just been through in this mid-tier the online visibility, so Omnis online visibility. We've also gone through your online distribution, and now we're going to be talking around guest engagement, or as we like to call it, superhero social proof. And social proof's a term that's being thrown around a lot these days, and if you're not completely across what we're talking about there, we'll hope to dig into that today and bring you up to speed. The goal of this module is to actually help you understand what's really important in the modern economy, the modern hospitality industry, when it comes to engaging with your guests and getting them talking about you online. And not only online, but obviously in a word of mouth sense as well. And as we like to talk about it, is the goal of this is to move you from crickets, those awkward pauses that you hear, to being a property that people want to get in line for. So that's where our quirky tagline there, from crickets to get in line, comes from. So let's dig right in. The first section we want to speak about is guest engagement itself. Now the whole module is around guest engagement, but we're talking about the real guest experience in your property, while they're in the property. And this is just hospitality 101. I don't propose, like right here, right now, to delve into all the things you should and shouldn't do when it comes to pleasing the guests in the hotel. I'm going to assume that you're an industry professional, and you've fallen in love with this industry, you're passionate about it, you're in it for the reason of you like to serve, you like to look after your guests and be hospitable. I believe that's why you're in the game. So I'm not here today to teach you about that. That's a whole other course that we could be building for you. But the hotel rescue and the 80% occupancy roadmap is all around maximising performance. And so this is about, well, okay, when it comes to guest engagement, how do we actually help that or do that well enough to translate into additional revenue and profits for our business? So Hospitality 101 and the real deal that we're talking about here, so we're talking about, you just have to have this right. I'm not going to tell you how to, I'm just going to tell you what you have to do, in the sense of you have to get the guest experience right. We can't make things more than what they actually are. If your guest experience, either through the product that they're experiencing or the service that they're experiencing, if it's poor, we can't paint that up into a pretty picture. So have a good product, have a good service first and foremost is the point. And the reason this is so important, because in the modern world now, you can be hung out to dry very, very quickly with the access that people have to technology and social platforms and the likes of TripAdvisor, which we'll be talking about in this module, that you can be hung out to dry so quickly if you get it wrong. So get your product right, get your service right, because we can no longer hide behind star ratings. Let me explain myself there. I think I've alluded to in some of the earlier modules around how the star rating system is really becoming outdated and antiquated. I'd like to have just a little sidebar here around star ratings versus guest reviews and the power of the two. So I guess once upon a time, star ratings was the authority when it came to where is a good place to stay. When it comes to people assessing and making a decision around where I should stay, star ratings was a leveler of the playing field, a measuring stick that people could use to go, well, if they've got a star rating, they've been through a measured process by an authoritative body to meet some standards and qualify for that star rating. So that was how people would assess a property, about what level of property they wanted to stay at. But the star rating system, as good as it has been over the years, has really become almost defunct because of the influx of online reviews and the power that's given back to people to express their real experience that they have at your property or any property. And the flip side of that is obviously what others do, the next person that's looking to stay at your property, they want to hear what other people have got to say. So once upon a time, you could hide behind a star rating. You may have had a 4 or 4.5 star rated property, and if you let service slip and you let product slip, you could hang on to that for a while. You could hide behind the star rating for a while because the word wouldn't necessarily get out. Now, eventually it would catch up with you, but it's so immediate these days. So we can't afford slip-ups, and we can't afford to not take ownership of things that happen in our hotel. And we're going to be working our way through that today. So that's the first and most important point I can make, is that get your customer service and your experience and your product spot on as best you can, matched to your brand and what you're trying to be, because otherwise you will be hung out to dry. And the final tip in this section would be, you absolutely have to be real to who you are. So when you relate this back to your marketing and the messaging that you're putting out there, don't say that you're luxury if you're actually budget. Be true to who you are. Because what can happen is if you say I'm luxury, but you're actually budget, people are going to be, their expectations are built up, okay? And then they actually come in here, experience the budget product, and then they'll bag you out online and give you a horrid time. Alternatively, you don't want to go the other way either. You don't want to do the whole under-promise to over-deliver approach. So that's the most important thing, first and foremost, when it comes to guest engagement and superhero social proof. You have to provide a real and genuine and authentic experience and product in your hotel.